UFD Tech's 2019 Computex coverage is brought to you by the likes of our friends at Wootware, ASRock, BitPhoenix, and AbConCore. You can check all of them out at the links in the video description and check out the dope products that they're going to be showing off this year. We'll have videos coming up of them soon. Hey friends, welcome back to one of our last few videos here at Computex 2019. And now we finally get to talk about one of our main sponsors for our trip this year, which is AbConCore. In case you haven't heard of them, that's okay, because for the most part, they've been a hot selling commodity in South Korea, but haven't really expanded to the rest of the world as of yet. But that is going to change soon with them working on getting on sale in Newegg and Amazon so that they can try to take over part of the US market. So let's go ahead and look at everything that they had on display at their booth this year. Again, this is a sponsored video by them, so let's go ahead and discuss everything. The main thing that they had that is just the most impressive thing that I have seen is their Ramses set of cases. These have their spider fans in them, and my goodness, when you see these things, you stop, you go, wow, that is a lot of amazing looking fans. You see that their Ramses 780 case comes with 12 RGB fans included. It has all of the normal support that you would expect. All of the tempered glass can support up to eATX cases, GPUs up to 345 millimeters. You can support a butt ton of radiators up to a 360 and a 480 and a 280 and a 240 and all of the different positionings that they have in the Ramses setup. Then they obviously have smaller versions of their Big Mac Daddy 780 coming in with a 760 as well as a 320, and then finally the slimmer 310, which comes with just 6 120 millimeter RGB fans. Then going slightly below that, they have their Tengri series, and one of these is something that I really want to get my hands on, which is the Tengri 650, which has a pretty good looking like cut in the glass. So the top and bottom diagonal portions of the side panel are actually different pieces of glass, and while this might make it a little bit more arduous to handle, it looks pretty dang good aesthetics wise. But with that, you can also see that there's plenty of room for spider fans, but then on top of that, it has this pretty good RGB looking PSU bottom plate for the AbConCore logo. And while you're looking at the Ramses and Tengri cases, you might note that there's not a whole room for airflow, especially since they're going for the aesthetic design, covering everything basically in tempered glass. If you drop on down to their next lineups, that's where we're gonna get some airflow focus cases in here, and that's gonna be with the Helios and Chronos lineup. With the Helios having a mesh front, the 500G has a tempered glass front and then mesh sides so that you can actually have some breathability for your case. And while these aren't the spider fans, the RGB on these fans also looks pretty good. So the Helios is more of their mid-tier lineup, but then when you get to the Chronos, if you look at the 510S, this is one of their best sellers of the Chronos lineup, which is more of their entry-level cases, let's say, which still have plenty of RGB, but then you've got their Chronos Zero Noise, which is enclosed on all sides and is supposed to give you the least amount of decibels possible coming out of your system. Speaking of decibels, let's talk about their fans. They did have those on showcase. Obviously, you've seen the spiders that were in the Ramses cases, but then they also have their Hurricane Spectrum series that was also on display, going up to about 1500 RPM on those, whereas the Spider Spectrums go up to about 1100 RPM on the 140 millimeter and then about 1300 RPM on the 120s. But not only does AbConCore do cases and fans, they also have some sets of peripherals and power supplies. Their Tengri series specifically is one that they wanted us to mention, which comes in 80 plus gold efficiency, and you get it between 600 and 850 watts. They also have one on display, which is their Core Platinum, and that comes in at 1200 watts. So those are the main things that AbConCore wanted us to talk to you guys about. I will have to say this is one of the best looking case brands that I have seen that I had less than a familiar acquaintance with, and I can't wait to see what they actually perform like when they send us a sample down the road in the future. So we'll make sure to get you guys a review later on down the line when they are anticipating launching in the US market. But I will have to say the star of the show for me, which they didn't ask us to talk about, they didn't really ask us to cover their peripherals, even though they do have gaming keyboards, mice, and headsets, their freaking Black Pearl keyboard. My goodness, this thing weighs a brick. and it's the most solid keyboard I've ever felt. It's gonna be terrible for shipping because it's just so, like, I think it comes in at something like 3 kilograms, and it's just a full Cherry MX RGB keyboard. I love it so much, I want it, but they didn't want us to talk about it necessarily, but I loved it so much I had to bring it up in this part. But what do you think of Abconcor's lineup? Which of the case series do you like? The Ramses, the Tengri, the Helios, or the Chronos? I'm keen to hear which one you appreciated down below in the comments. If there's a case that you saw in our B-roll that we didn't happen to mention in the video, just leave a timestamp down below and let us know that that's your favorite case from them. And big thanks again to Abconcor for sponsoring our booth tour of them this year, and big thanks to the rest of our Computex 2019 sponsors, including the likes of Wootware, ASRock, and Bitphoenix. We couldn't be here without them doing all of this coverage anyways. So, my friends, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Get subscribed to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content. I'm Brett with the UFD Tech Channel. You've just been filled in, and I'll see your smiling faces again in the next video. Love you too.